number 18 on your list of your top 40 NFL quarterbacks going into next year. That player is?
We got a faller, but it's Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, yes. Number 18, the Indianapolis Colts. And Carson Wentz, come on, anybody that's been following me knows how I feel about this guy. I mean, yeah, last year was rough. We know that. But I've seen enough in Carson Wentz's career, too, because, you know, for some of the people that have seen my list already in totality, rather it be people at work, I've shown a few people here and there, that he's one of the ones where they go, ooh, that might be too high for him. You might go low.
You had him 6 last year.
I know, and I have to go, well, damn. I know it wasn't good last year, but let's start back with this. Wait, we just had this conversation with Sam Darnold and around him. What did people really expect out of Carson Wentz? See, what was wrong with last year more than anything was the unrealistic job and how he carried the team in 2019 to the playoffs that gave people false expectations. I could sit here and look at the 2020 schedule and look at the Eagles and go, there's not a game on here, okay? Maybe other than late in the year. There's not a game on here other than Washington week 1. Which I don't know, even that now looking back at it, where you go, Philly definitely should have won that game. They were better than those teams. Who were they better than? Who was he throwing to? The offense wasn't very good. They didn't run the ball. They have nobody to be scared of throwing the football. Now, he let the situation around him affect him last year, and it pushed him to make some poor decisions and then try to carry the team like he did the year before. And it came back to bite him in the butt. Yeah, he was too reckless with the football. He was too, I'm going to make a play and carry the team here. It became everything was like a little like Deshaun Watson a few years ago, where it's just like you felt like every time he dropped back, it was the last play of the game. You're like, something good's going to happen or it's going to be a disaster. What is it going to happen here? But also at the same point, we're talking about a guy that's got a good arm. He's a phenomenal athlete. He has great size. And even though the year wasn't great last year, I get that. The circumstance around him, just like the two guys we talked about already, and Sam and Cam Newton, was really bad. As they've told you this offseason, they told you they blew it up. They blew it up in Philadelphia because it needed to be blown up. Wentz gave them the false sense of security to hang on to it one year too long. And even with all that, again, I always will go back to Wentz. Even though with that year, he's shown me the ability to play at an extremely high level. So I'm not going to just knock him to 29 because of 1 year on a offense with supporting cast and go, that's it. You know, I couldn't put him below some of these other guys. I couldn't do it. So that to me is where I got, Wentz at 18.
Yeah, Kristen, let's look at his last 4 years if you have it there, because one of those years we talk about all the time, on track to be the MVP.
Yeah, MVP. It's going to be the MVP until he tears his ACL against the Rams.
2017.
2018, I mean, it's not that bad. 21-7. I've never seen a guy after 2018 be vilified after 21-7 quite the way he was.
Injuries, availability, a concern.
Right.
Part of the
Nick
way he
Foles
plays.
situation, winning the Super Bowl, him being on the roster, that just led to like anything he did wrong. Wait, no, Foles won us the Super Bowl. Oh, Wentz threw an incompletion. You get Foles in there. Sorry, Kristen, I'm saying a lot of F words today. But
she knows.
But then 2019, you look at those stats. I'd sit there and tell you they're as impressive as stats as anybody in football that year. 27-7 with that group he was throwing to, a bunch of no names. I mean, with no run game, and they got in the playoffs. So, that's where, again, I know he can clean up his game. Decision-making wasn't great. He didn't even throw the ball. He has a little bit of the Justin Fields things with his arm at times where, I mean, not at times. He's an elbow guy, too. Now, he'll keep it here. So there's not this, but the opposite, the thing that's different between Justin Fields is he does a lot of other things the right way. But it's something I don't love about his game too.
He's got the chicken wing. If
he got the chicken wing, right? The elbow was always out. He kind of throws through the elbow. I think that's why he wears a sleeve on his throwing arm, because I bet you his elbow is sore from time to time with how much stress he puts on it. So yeah, Aaron throws some bad decisions, trying to do too much, all of those type of things. led to a down year. But as you sit here, and I think we can all sit here and and be realistic. And if you look back at their schedule now and you go, listen, they beat the Giants 27-17, beat the Giants 22-21 at home. I mean, the Giants were better than Philadelphia. I know at the time we looked at it and we were like, oh, Eagles barely beat the Giants. No, the Giants were clearly better than Philadelphia when this season was all said and done. They were the better football team. They won that game because, wait, Carson Wentz. I mean, so that's where I look at it and look back at it and go, okay, did we think they were supposed to beat the Cleveland Browns? We thought they were going to beat the Seattle Seahawks? We thought they were going to beat Green Bay? Really? That's what we thought? You thought they were going to beat Pittsburgh and the Ravens? Really? The Rams? You can't look at one of those teams and say, yeah, they blew it that week. That was the game they should have won. No, they went onto the field almost in every game other than Darnucci at quarterback with the Cowboys, going that game and the Bengals game where you go, okay, maybe they should have won those games. The rest of them, they were the lesser team on the field for the most part.
Carson Wentz was hurt by our high expectations of that team.
Exactly.
We inflated how good they were.
Me too. I mean, I'm exactly right. It all hurt Carson Wentz, and now he's going to give a big FU with the horseshoe U.
Yeah.
To the rest of the country, I think, after this year's over.
Pete has put something in here, and Pete, this is an indication that I think we've been doing this too long. I feel like we've done this before. Pete put in here the blame-o-meter, rank the things that are at fault for Wentz's bad season. Howie Roseman drafting Jalen Hurts, bad supporting case.
Right.
Because we had before
we ranked
the statue of Nick Foles. Was that the reason? The fans, right? We put them in there.
Right.
You let the fans off the hook there. But you've made the point that it was a lot around Carson Wentz, but there's some culpability there for him too.
Definitely.
He's not scot-free on this.
He's not. I'm not trying to. I hope I'm not trying to sound like I'm letting him off scot-free.
Just making that clear.
Okay, good. Because there's plenty of moments of, he lost his way. He felt the pressure. He was out on his feet, whatever you want to say, towards the end of the year by just the constant scrutiny, everybody blaming him trying to do too much, and it affected his decisions on the field. And it started to affect his play and everything, to where that Green Bay game, it all came to a pinnacle of man, it's just he's beat down in all facets, physically, mentally, everything about it. And that's where I think it's a good fresh start with a supporting cast and a coach that believes him in Indy is going to do a lot for him.
Frank Reich should be. I mean, he was there in Philadelphia for his best times, and so that should help. Yep. I am curious, the one last thing with Carson Wentz is you've heard in the past, and maybe it's been overblown, just how is he that quarterback personality? Is he a leader of a team? MSN had a story on it, and they talked to some of the players. His new teammates, like Michael Pittman, said, I have no idea what everyone else is talking about. I just see a team guy. He's always ready to help and just do whatever it takes. He's been a great guy and a teammate. Jacob Eason says he's done a tremendous job, whether it's in meetings or in the locker room. He engages the guys. You're going to get that in new teammates. They don't want to. They don't know him that well either. But I think it's interesting. Former Eagles captain Malcolm Jenkins was talking to Chris Long on his Green Light podcast, and he said this was after he was traded to the Colts. He says that the quarterback sometimes needed to reach out more to some of his teammates, but he was never the sort of, quote, locker room cancer that he was accused of being.
No.
So I'm interested to see how he's different or how much was overblown of him being that quarterback, that leader in Philadelphia.
Yeah, not a cancer. I mean, that's for sure. That was where I believe it was like a little bit misreporting or took a life of its own. I think that whole conversation took a life of its own. Mm-hmm. And I think it's pretty easy to really put it together for at least somebody like me who's been around it for a long, long time. Yeah, he needs to get better. I think there's definitely that. Guys in the locker room want the quarterback a little. Yeah, he's our leader. He's the general and all that. But they want to feel human. There's a human aspect to him. That's where Brady was great. Brady wasn't hanging out with everybody in New England having beers and hey, young guys, come over. We're going to funnel beers later and hang out. I'm going to show you I'm really one of the guys. But, he had a good way of just going over to them on a daily or every few days basis to make a connection with them and talk to them. Hey, what's up in life? You dating a girl? Are you married? Blah, blah, blah. It's those things that will go over big in a locker room when the quarterback does that. I think that's where he missed it. But where it all really compounds and became a thing was, of course, he got hurt and they won a Super Bowl with another guy.
Yeah.
And now you get compared to that guy for everything. Oh, Nick hangs out with us. Carson doesn't. Oh, Nick talks to us a little bit more.
Maybe
Carson doesn't.
Maybe you don't feel like you have license to be that guy anymore,
maybe a little
right?
bit that way too. That's definitely going to affect some of that. You're going like, man, am I look the same way? You become self-conscious.
Yeah.
But you just get compared to one guy because of that. And maybe that guy is better at some of those things, but it takes a life of its own. And so I don't look at it as being that. I mean, not to where he's a cancer. Now, hopefully he can improve on making some of those relationships or anything like that. But I would be shocked if it doesn't work here with the Colts.
Well, they were all cheering him on at the end of one of their OTA sessions when the whole team played in a knockout tournament. You know, the knockout basketball.
Love
they brought
it.
a hoop onto the field. He
is good.
And Mo Alley Cox in the
finals.
And Mo Alley Cox was a 3-year starter for the VCU basketball team.
Right.
Mo Alley Cox won, but Carson Wentz made it all the way to the final.
I would think so. I would expect that from Carson Wentz. He's got incredible hand-eye, that's for sure. And I would like to think that really most quarterbacks, if they had a knockout tournament, are going to be in at least the final 3 or 4 out of a 90-man roster, final 5.
Yeah, what positions would be most likely? I would say quarterback, wide receiver.
Yeah, I would say tight ends usually have a little tight ends I was around usually have a pretty vast skill set.
Yeah.
They've played basketball, they've played football, they might have played baseball or whatever. I mean, you can do it all a little bit. So the ones I was around were pretty well versed. Certain teams, the punters and the kickers, if you get on a team like that, they can be shooters.
The worst shot's going to be linebackers and offensive linemen. I feel like just the build, short neck of a linebacker seems like you're going to get a stiff shot.
Yeah, every now and then you're going to get an offensive lineman with a silky shot. Offensive lineman every now and then can have that like big man silky shot.
Yeah,
I think you're right though. Linebackers, I would probably really say
defensive linemen.
I was going to go like linebackers and maybe even really corners. I've seen some corners that just they're fast. That's it.
But a brick show.
But can't hit a golf ball. Can't throw a baseball.
Can't catch. That's
what I mean. So I've seen some where I'm gonna go. Are you shooting with the right hand? Are you sure that's the way you're supposed to shoot?
You may be left-handed.
I know, right? You're not supposed to use both hands there, guys. But I would say no. Yeah, it's quarterbacks. Good amount of running backs. And wide receivers. Wide receivers can go a little either way too, but they usually are pretty silky smooth athletes overall.
Well, Carson, well done. New team, already impressing them with your shooting ability.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.